second. I didn't have my phone with me. Is he ready? 10 more minutes? Okay, 10 minutes to work. Okay. Is the drummer still outside? Did the drummers leave? The drummers were. Have him bring the drummers back in. Okay. So he's going to be out in 10 minutes. He's ready in 10 minutes. In the meantime, what you have coming along, if you've seen, I have flyers going by that just say vote for me on May 7th. May 7th is election day. How many people have signed a petition for a school board candidate so far? Anybody in here live in the East District? Nobody in this room live in the East District? One person in this room live in the East District. I'm passing my petition around, and I'm hoping that I get enough signatures. I have to have 500 signatures to make the ballot. All you have to do is live in the East District and live in the city of Buffalo and be a registered voter at the address that you live in, because they're going to actually look to check to make sure that it is your signature that's on that petition. And it's a very thorough process. My goal is to actually make the ballot so that people can vote for me. My platform is one that says that I believe that we need to do away with suspensions, period. We need to find other ways, possibly implement the restorative practices, helping our children to work with what they have, work their knowledge and understanding, as opposed to just putting them out of the schools. I'm also a firm believer that parents have to be more involved. We have to know that we have a voice that's meant to be heard, not just to do bake sales, not just to do parties, but we're parents and we can write policy. I've been a parent that's been at the table writing policy. I helped to write the parent involvement policy. I helped to write the code of conduct or suspension policy. I helped to write the wellness policy. We have to make sure that our children are respected. A lot of the times, you know, long gone are the days where you send your child to school and it's whatever comes home from the school saying that your child did this or that. That's not always the truth anymore. You have to actually listen to your children and know your children for yourself and believe them first. I'm a firm believer in believing our children first. So if you can, just indulge me. We're going to have Brother Shango, you wanted to say something? Oh, okay. Yes, the petitions are going around. And if you have a flyer, just hold on to it. Remember my name on May 7th. We're going to do a prayer. A Yoruba priest is here, and we're going to have him engage us in prayer, praying for Dr. Umar, praying for our city, praying for today's program. Baba, I want you to just introduce yourself.
What I've said is in the Yoruba language, and I'm saying good afternoon. I'm going to take us back to the Ifa tradition, and before we do anything, normally we consult with the Ifa oracle. And I spoke to Sister Patricia, and on behalf of everybody, the Ifa oracle has been consulted, and we have been assured that this occasion is a blessed occasion. And in Yoruba, I'm going to say Ire. Ire means blessing. Ire dodo, blessing for each and every one of us. Ire bobo, blessing for each and every one of us, the present generation of our children, and generations of our children to come. Mojuba Ọlọ́run Olódùmarè. Ọlọ́run Olódùmarè is the high priest, the supreme being in the Yoruba spiritual sense of the word. Ọlọ́run Olódùmarè Mojuba. Àwa ọmọ rẹ, we your children are gathered here today. Àwa ọmọ rẹ, àwa níbí láti júbà gbogbo àwọn òrìṣà. Àwọn òrìṣà, the angels, archangels, and all the spirit beings. We are in the image of God, each and every one of us. We are in the image of God. The men, the women, the children. There's no reason why we should look at God in any other image that doesn't look like us. So I'm invoking the spirit of our ancestors to come here and bless us and to guide us and keep on blessing Dr. Umar. I share Umar.
Ashe, thank you very much. We're going to have Babatv play more drums, and we're just going to meditate within ourselves, get our minds right, prepare our spirits. Oh, he's going to play the piano. It's a treat. It's a drum. We're going to get our minds right. Think about your children. Think about the future of your community. Think about the babies that have not even been born yet. What do you want them born into? What kind of world do you see them? What do you have prepared for them? Have you left a legacy? Are you building a legacy for your children and your children's children's children? We have to begin to think like that. It just doesn't stop right here. But beyond us, my daughter doesn't have children yet, but I'm thinking about her children, and I'm thinking about her children's children. What am I doing right now that's going to impact that future when I'm long gone? Somehow, along the way, we may have forgotten that as a people because we get caught up in the hustle and bustle of life and our bills and our worries and our woes and our sickness and our pains and our ills. But we got to know that God is real. And that there's nothing that we can't do, there's nothing that we can't have, there's nothing that we can't make manifest because we are created in the image and in the likeness of God. Anything we say, we can have it. So I'm going to let Baba play. Dr. Johnson will be here in just a moment.
World.
to the left, to the right. This side, to the right are the restrooms for men and women. And please, no eating in the sanctuary. If you have food in here, please wrap it up, put it away right now. There's no eating inside of this sanctuary. If you want to eat, go out there.
Everyone ready for Dr. Umar? Yeah. Please do me a favor. Everyone, please stand on their feet. I appreciate you. Stand, please stand. Please for me. Give me a continuous hand clap. Hand clap. The King Kong of consciousness. He rose for president, scholar in the United States and soon to be the world. Check the acronym. Prince of Pan-Africanism. So he loves it when you call him Big Power. Dr. Umar Babatv Johnson! Buffalo, New York, make some noise, black family. One love.
Go ahead, Babatv. Go ahead.
Welcome, brothers and sisters. Go ahead and take your seats. I'm glad to be back in Buffalo for what is probably my last full year of touring around the world. This journey began for me back in 2010. I was sitting at home in Philadelphia, working as a certified school psychologist, fighting to keep our children out of special education when it's not necessary. And I wrote a couple of online newspaper articles. And a brother from Chicago, a good Hebrew Israelite brother, called me up and said, I'm reading an article that you wrote, someone sent to me. And they said it might be a good idea if I interview you on my Chicago public access television station. He said, I can't fly you to Chicago and I can't pay for your lodging, but if you can manage to get here, I'd love to interview you. And I'm sitting in Philadelphia saying to myself, that's Chicago. Second largest black metropolis in America. Of course I'll get there. So I flew up to Chicago, we did the interview. I had a cold, I never forget it, because I slept at the hotel that night with the temperature on 1,000, trying to sweat the cold out. And so we did the interview, and at the end of the interview, he had one DVD of the interview. He said, I need this DVD so I can, I think he needed it for post-production or something. And I said, can I have a copy of it? He said, I really kind of need this for post-production. But then he said, since you took the time to come to Chicago so I can interview you, I'm going to give it to you. And so at the last minute, he changed his mind and gave me a copy of the DVD. Had he not given me a copy of the DVD, we probably wouldn't be here today. Because after he gave me a copy of that DVD, September the 18th, I think it was, the very next month, October the 30th, the night before Halloween, I snuck into Harlem, New York City. And I did a lecture at the National Black Theater. I rented the hall, and I did the lecture. And I made copies of the Chicago interview from 3 weeks prior. So I'm in the second largest black city, and then I take a copy of that interview I did there to the largest black city, Harlem, New York. So I did my lecture in Harlem. I never forget the name of it. It was called Post-Traumatic Slavery Disease, Part 4, Miseducation of the 21st Century Negro. And I had copies of the Chicago DVD, and people came and got a copy of it. And within about 48 hours, my phone just started going crazy. Every zip code, not just in America, but across the world. And everyone kept saying, are you the brother we watching? Where you been at? And I said, yeah, that's me. So I started getting radio requests and interviews, and first it was America, then it was the Caribbean, then it was Europe, then it was Africa, then it was Asia, and it just kind of snatched me. It had to be by divine design. Because living in Philadelphia, and for those of y'all who've been in Philadelphia or are from Philly, Philadelphia is a very bourgeoisie city. In that no one rises in Philly unless you go through the bourgeoisie power structure. And for those of you who don't know, Philadelphia is home to the second oldest and largest white Masonic lodge in the world. It is also home to the largest and one of the oldest Prince Hall Masonic lodges in the world. And it is also the home birthplace of the Boule. The Black Secret Society was founded in Philadelphia. And allegedly, W.E.B. Du Bois, who was a founding father of the Boule while he worked at the University of Pennsylvania, although they forced him to live in the ghetto with blacks. According to Du Bois, he said, quote, the Boule was created to keep the educated black man away from Marcus Garvey. The Boule was created to keep the educated black man away from Marcus Messiah Garvey. So it took for me to leave Philly before Philadelphia had to recognize what they had in their own place. There had been scholars who knew me, and I can call names that y'all know, and activists, but they would never dare introduce me to the world because they knew once I got introduced to the world, I would go straight to the top. I know that sounds arrogant, but I'm straight to the top. Now, it's been a long, rocky road, a lot of ups and downs, but through it all, I've enjoyed these past 10 years, and I wouldn't give it away for nothing. So around 2004, a friend of mine made a call, and he said, Dr. Umar, there's a historically black college for sale in Virginia, St. Paul's. We've been talking about opening and building a school for our children. So I called up the auction company that was in charge of selling St. Paul's, and I said, how much is the school? They said, $2 million. I said, $2 million for a whole campus, 118 acres, 15 buildings? Founded by Father Russell, who's a close friend of Booker T. Washington and a good friend of Dr. George Washington Carver. In fact, Dr. Carver once went to St. Paul's in Virginia to visit his good friend, Father Russell. So I said, for $2 million, that's a steal. We had no money saved up. We started hustling. We started taking donations. Then in 2005, we went online and we were trying to get St. Paul's. And we were trying to get St. Paul's, but we didn't raise enough money. And we didn't raise enough money because some of us value clothes and hair and cars and vacations and partying more than we value our children's education. Now, some people get upset when I say this. It's behind us now. But it's the truth. There's no way you can tell me that you care as the people, not individuals. Because some of you want to say, well, I care about my kids. I'm not asking you about your damn kids. I'm asking you about us. And the problem with black folks, we don't like to have conversations about us. All of our conversations are about me and I. But when the police come, they don't come for me and I. They come for us. And so last year we spent $2 billion on Air Jordan sneakers. But I couldn't raise $2 million for a black college. Last year we spent $4 billion on liquor and alcohol. But I couldn't raise $2 billion for a black college.
Teach.
Black women spend over $16 billion on perm and weave.
Go ahead.
But I can't raise $2 billion for a black college. Black men over $1 million on Timberland boots alone. And we can't raise $2 billion for a black college. And then as we're raising the money, other jealous people in the conscious movement started throwing daggers at me.
Go ahead, Dr. Umar.
Out of New York City, they was throwing daggers. California daggers. Everywhere I look on YouTube, he's stealing the money. Where's the money?
Go ahead,
Is he
Dr.
flying
Umar.
around with the people's money? Negro, I've been flying around before you knew me.
Go ahead, Dr. Umar.
What I need the people's money to do that for? Last time I checked, I got 6 degrees, including a doctorate. What I got to fly off the people's money for?
Say it again.
But the attacks came. And what y'all don't know is the attacks came for 2 reasons. Number one, other conscious personalities thought that they would be able to exploit me for personal financial gain. They wanted to be the puff daddy to this notorious RBG. And when I didn't let them pimp me, they went in on the hunt. So that was part of it. We're supposed to be using you to get paid, and here you are doing your own thing. And then the other part of the jealousy came from the fact that most of them had crowdfunding campaigns that went absolutely nowhere because they were not designed to benefit the people. They were designed to benefit them. So when we passed 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, boy, they got jealous. Why black people giving Ephod Tunde all that money, you only gave me this amount? Because you're not serious, Negro. See, let me explain something to y'all about black consciousness community. Let me take that back. I'm going to call it what it really is. The fake woke YouTube community. Okay? It's not conscious. It's a fake woke YouTube community. And none of the people you watch on YouTube, almost none of them, are doing anything on the streets to make life better for us. It's video after video after video after video after video.
Go ahead.
Of gossip, opinions, and rhetoric.
Go ahead.
No agenda, no plan, no nation building, no institutions.
That's right.
So the reason they needed the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy Fund to fail is because if it succeeds, you all will start asking them. Dr. Umar got the school, so now what are you going to build for the people? See, by having the school, we raise the bar. So if you just been sitting on YouTube, making YouTube bucks off of gossip and rhetoric, it's not enough no more. So be that as it may, brothers and sisters, I'm happy today. Not just because the sun is out, I'm a Leo. Shout out to the Leos in the building. But because last month, well, month before last, because we're in April now, February the 7th, exactly 7 days before my ancestor Frederick Douglass's solar return, we purchased the school in Wilmington, Delaware.
That's right. Beautiful.
Yes, we finally got it.
Beautiful.
4 long years, but we finally got us a school.
What you gonna say now?
And it's a beautiful school, by the way, brothers and sisters. It's a nice one. It used to be a black charter school, but they got their certification, a charter snatch. See, some of y'all said, Dr. Umar, why didn't you just go get a charter school? What's with this Marcus Garvey do-it-ourself crap? Go get some of that free white money! Damn, Negroes love some free white money. Let the white man show up out there with $5 for free, you would leave right now. There's something about that white hand and that green dollar, you just can't leave it. The reason I didn't open up no charter school is for the same reason that the school we bought used to be a black charter. Because charter schools were never supposed to be about helping black children. Charter schools is a white movement by white people to defund, depopulate, and kill public education. I didn't say we don't have some good black charter schools. I want y'all to separate the two. There are some people with some black charter schools who do a good job. Y'all might have some black charter schools that do a good job. We're not attacking them. They're doing what they can, where they are, with what they have. I'm not talking about individual black charters. I'm saying the movement. Are y'all following me?
Yes, sir.
I want to make sure we're clear, because some of y'all have a listening comprehension disability. Okay? Black charter schools are not a bad thing, but that doesn't dismiss the fact that the charter school movement was about destroying black public schools. See, we have the same conversation when we talk about LGBTQIP. They get a new letter a month. See, when I say I disagree with the LGBT movement, y'all say he hates black gays. I don't hate no brother who was sexually molested at 7 because you leave anybody with your kids and he's gay today. I don't hate no black woman who's now in a relationship with another woman because she getting sick and tired of brothers beating her upside her head. I don't hate them. But what they're doing does not dismiss the fact that the white man has an LGBT movement that is aimed at depopulating black America by brainwashing our elementary school children into same-sex relationships. Don't confuse individual decisions with the larger movement. When Barack Obama ran for president, y'all Negroes was dancing in the streets of Buffalo. Cooning your asses off. We got Obama, we got Obama. And what did you get from Obama? I had a Negro almost had a heart attack in the middle of the street of Philadelphia the other day because she asked me if I read Michelle Obama's memoir. Kind of cool-ass question is that? Why would I be reading Michelle Obama's memoir? Has Michelle done anything for Black Chicago? Has she done anything for Black Buffalo? So why would Dr. Umar Johnson be reading the coonish biography of Michelle Obama? And I know some of y'all can't stand it because y'all confuse black faces with black power. That's the whole problem. You confuse black faces with black power. Y'all got black people in Buffalo City government, but they ain't got no power. Okay? Somebody said we need to run some black candidates. For what if they got to get elected with white money? What good is a black face if it's white money that got them elected? You got to control the campaign and the coon that way. Somebody said, Dr. Umar, you said black people shouldn't vote. I never said it. Never said black people shouldn't vote. Okay, brother, I'm glad, brother, because our ancestors died for us to vote. No, they did not. Amen. Not a single ancestor died for us to vote. They died for freedom. Yeah. Voting was a strategy that they thought would most likely deliver the freedom. Stop confusing the strategy with the mission. You can go vote. Some of y'all been voting your whole damn life. What you got for it? Nothing. Julius Caesar, Napoleon Bonaparte, study them crackers, they told you. Democracy is a system that those in power give to those without power to keep you from wringing their necks. Voting makes you think you can change things without revolution. That's all democracy is. If voting could change anything in the state of New York, it would be illegal. When you vote, you don't vote for a new platform. You don't vote for a new program. You don't vote for a new protocol. You simply vote for the face that's going to push the buttons that the white man already decided before election day would be pushed.
Say that.
That's wrong, brother. No, it's right. And if I'm wrong, the question is simple. Name one thing black folks ever got in America through a vote. We got out of slavery through blood. We got out of Jim Crow through blood. We got the Civil Rights Bill and Voting Rights Act through blood. Can you name one thing we got that we voted for? Voting ain't never changed nothing in black America. And guess what? Making you think you're in control when the vote has worked so well, they took it to Africa. So in Africa, They tell the brothers and sisters in Nigeria, in Ghana, in Congo, all you got to do is vote. Well, South Africa got out of apartheid through blood. Nigeria got out of colonialism through blood. The Congo got their independence through blood. And now you're telling me I can cast a piece of paper and change all that. Y'all really think these white folks in Buffalo been stealing and robbing you for hundreds of years and you can change it with a vote? Good God Almighty. I ain't seen nothing like it. In fact, the white man should get an award. I'm going to give white folks an award for creating the greatest thing in modern history. And guess what that is? What is the greatest invention in modern times? It ain't the cell phone, the internet, the laptop. It's the Negro. You all should be in a statue in the museum. The only thing ever born in world history that will work against its own best interest without being paid or told to do so just because. You can't show me an insect, you can't name me a fish, an amphibian, a primate, show me anything living. The lowest roach, the lowest rodent, a hamster, a beetle, an ant, they don't even do to each other what you do to each other. You are outside your mind. Negro told me the other day he can't work for 4th of July so he can cook out some damn wings and chicken wings. And the thing about 4th of July, and don't be quiet, because half y'all can't wait either. What was we doing on July 4th, 1776? We was working for free, called slavery. On July 4th, 1776, Thomas Jefferson had over 400 of them. George Washington had over 300 of them. 75% of the signers of the Declaration of Independence were slave masters. And you got the audacity to take your last buck to the Chinaman or the Arab or the damn Anglo-Saxon and get you some ribs and chicken. You silly niggas. And celebrate your slave master's freedom from his master. Look at that. You want to celebrate the 13 colonies' independence from Britain, but yet you were still dependent on them. How do you celebrate another man's freedom when you ain't got none? I'm telling you, European holidays are some of the best evidence that Negroes are still under a hypnosis. They enslaved you for 246. They Jim Crowed you for another 100. They practiced police genocide for the whole 400. And you got the audacity to put your hand on your heart and pledge allegiance. And then you send your children to a public school where they stand up 180 days a year and pledge allegiance. For 12 years, times 180. And you wonder why you got a coon on graduation day. And then the black mother say, Dr. Umar, why my son in love with white girls? I don't mind if you tape on your phone. Go ahead. He's in love with white girls because he was looking at his mama. And he said, I noticed my mama wear her hair like the white girl. She dyes it like the white girl. She perms it like the white girl. She colors it the same color as a white girl. She bleaches her skin so she can get it closer to the white girl. So you're teaching your son that the white woman is more attractive than the black woman through your behavior. As a child is taught, so is his thoughts. So if my mother shows me that she's racially inferior to Mary Beth, and Betty Jean with no behind, and Sally and Samantha and Priscilla. Oh, nasty corn cheese sandwich making devils. For the life of me, I don't know what you black men see in these buffalo brunettes. There's nothing cute about a cracker. Lord, forgive me, I'm in your house. But I swear it's nothing more nasty than pale skin with no melanin in it, a backside with no curve, and chicken wings with no damn flavor. Lord have mercy. I don't want to start preaching today, but I think the African Holy Ghost is calling. So if your son sees his mother worshiping white women all her life, why are you surprised when he take a white one to the senior class prom? Why should I mess with a bootleg if I can have the real thing? Oh yes. And then you know what's even worse than that? There's an epidemic of black mothers, because I meet them all around the world, who are telling me that they don't feel comfortable telling their son that you should only date black women. Yes.
I heard you on it.
Yes.
Yeah. Nope.
I've had at least, 5 or 6 of them in the past year tell me, Dr. Umar, I'm for my people, but I can't tell my son that he can only date black women. But then y'all got a nerve to be crying about ain't no men. But you can't even tell your son to stay loyal to you. If you can't tell your son to stay loyal, how the hell you gonna keep us loyal? But I know where this comes from. I know where it comes from. See, right now we're in the house of the AMEZ, African Methodist Episcopal Zion. They are a revolutionary brand of black Christianity. Right? And so are the AMEs. You got a couple revolutionary brands of Christianity, but 95% of black churches have nothing African about them.
Sure do.
Reverend Chicken Wing, Deacon Pork Chop, Pastor Watermelon. Them Negroes ain't teaching you no black pride, no African divinity. They got you worshiping white folks, calling it Jesus. See, the picture of a white Jesus is nothing more than a symbol of white authority. So if you go to church praying to an image of a white Jesus, what you're really praying to is collective white authority. Your God is white supremacy if you got a white Jesus in your house. And don't sit here and act like it, Buffalo, because y'all some upstate New York niggas. Woo! I know we got some cracker Jesus. I know at least 5 of you got a white Jesus in your house. Those Niagara Falls Negroes. I know y'all got some cracker Christ at home. Don't lie. Because I go to your homes and I do therapy in the house. I sit down with the children and try to help them understand why you so damn crazy. Ain't that something? I got to tell the child why you crazier than the child. And the whole time I'm doing therapy, I got him on the wall. I don't know if it's Michael Bolton, Little Richard, I don't know who it is. One day Jesus looked like Little Richard, the next day he looked like Michael Bolton. And the craziest thing about it is that picture of Jesus you got came from a white homosexual, Leonardo da Vinci. Next time you go to church, ask the pastor, why is Leonardo da Vinci so important to this church? And the pastor's going to say, what you talking about? That's Leonardo da Vinci's invention. Why are we so thrilled about gay white males and their artwork? Because it takes nothing to get a black one done. But you don't want to see nothing that looks like you. Oh, hell no. A guy looking like me? No! In Buffalo, I'm here to tell you right now, until you can see God in yourself, you won't see it anywhere else.
Say that.
Divinity starts with the self. You got to look in the mirror and say, I am God. Because you are an extension of that which made you. Amen. And because God made us first. See, there's something about being the first. You know how the oldest child, that firstborn son, that firstborn daughter, there's always something special about the first. Well, we God's first children. And I believe one of the reasons we catch in hell the way we catch in is because we have mishandled the global power our Lord has given us. We let the white man, the youngest man on the planet, tell us where to go and how to get it. How does the youngest child, and he's a retarded child, damn the Neanderthals. They don't know how to act. Can't live with nobody, nothing peaceful about them. Can't leave nothing. Everywhere the white man go, he got to mess it up. We was growing cucumbers and tomatoes and carrots just fine. Here comes this pale man now. He wants to create a genetically modified crop. We've been playing for 2 million years, and all of a sudden this damn Neanderthal says I can make it grow fast. So he done came up with a crop that when you plant it, not only does it erode the soil, it causes cancer in anything that eats it. Genetically modified organism. What the hell I need a genetically modified sweet potato for? I don't need no 55-pound sweet potato. I was at Whole Foods last week, the damn oranges look like wheels on a car. Because that damn Iceman don't know how to act. I was watching YouTube the other day. This white group went hunting. They went on an African safari. Lord have mercy. And remember now that the animals of the forest has watched what the Europeans done to us for 400 years. The lions, the tigers, the bears, the giraffe, even the trees. Because your average big tree is over 500 years old. They didn't see it all. So how stupid can a white man be to think you're going to enslave Africans for 500? Colonize Africa for another 100. Neo-colonize for 60. And then you want to go into the jungle where the animals just watch what you did to us and you think they're going to let your ass come? So the white folks came over to the lions. Lord have mercy. And because white folks got a God complex because you bow down whenever white folks come in, they think the animal's supposed to bow down too. So these crackers went over to the lion, and the lion pounced on their ass. I mean, Samantha, Betsy, Mary Lou, they didn't know what to do. Stay your ass out the jungle. Tarzan ain't king enough. White folks gotta mess with everything. Can't just leave the snakes alone. They got to take the snake, capture the snake, ride the snake, cut the snake up, see what's inside the snake, make perfume from the snake, burger sauce from the snake, snake skin shoes. Damn, cracker, leave something alone. And despite everything he done to us, he still got us thinking he means us well. There's nothing worse than to come amongst a room of black folks and have a Negro shout out, they not all bad. Somebody take their damn temperature. Where's the thermostat? How the hell after 400 years you gonna say they ain't all bad? I know some good ones. You don't know no good white folks. If they good, you don't know them. And then somebody say, well, how can you say that, Doc? Didn't white people judge us as a group for 400 years? Is it ethically sound for you to say all white people are racist if you never met everyone? I don't have to meet every snake to know they ass will bite you.
Right.
I ain't got to meet every skunk to know that damn smell, I don't need it. I ain't got to sample every fruit that I don't like to know that I don't like. There's certain properties that hold consistency. As for people, so for things. And there's certain consistencies about white folks. And the first consistency about white folks is all white people are racist. Every last one of them. Now, I know we got some young people here, and I don't want to mislead the young people, so let me explain what I mean by racism, because racism is not racial hatred. Some of y'all think racism is racial hatred. I'm here to tell you racism does not have to be racial hatred. There are white people that hate black folks. There are white people who don't hate black folks. But all white people practice racism. How? Because racism is about two things: power and privileges. Did y'all hear what I said?
Yeah.
So that means the white girl can sleep with your silly ass and still be a racist.
Yes.
Your white girlfriend can go out to the club with you and drop it like it's hot with that flat booty. Stop laughing, sister. Stop it. See, this is therapy, young lady. I'm giving you therapy. I'm glad y'all two here because you never will hear another black scholar talk like me. Because they all scared of white folks. Scared as hell. I walk into the room, they will get up and go to another table. So the cracker don't see him next to Dr. Umar. Oh, yes. And then they use me as the litmus test. They say, what do you think about Dr. Johnson's ideologies? And then they got to say they disagree with me so they can get some crumbs from the white man. Whatever you do, don't you ever lose sight of the fact that God put you in charge. And no matter how bad black people are doing now, keep faith that one day we'll go back to where we're supposed to be. The first shall be last, and the last shall be first. I don't care how long it takes. I don't care how many more of us got to die. I don't care how many more police genocides. I don't care how many more black men marry fat, nasty, flat butt white girls. But one day we shall be free.
Yes, say it, say it.
Brothers and sisters, we got a long road ahead of us. But I'm confident we can win. I'm ready. I stopped at my ancestor, Frederick Douglass's gravesite yesterday on my way up from Philadelphia. No, Frederick is my 4 times great-grand cousin and possibly uncle because the slave master raped my 4 times great-grandmother, young Betsy, and her sister, Frederick's mom, Harriet. So he could be an uncle to the white man, but he's definitely a cousin to the black woman. And I'm at his grave, and some of y'all saw me on Facebook Live yesterday. I said, get these bones on up, ancestor. We got work to do. You've been sleeping for 201 years. We got to go. Whenever I go to an ancestor grave, I ain't just pulling our face. Get your ass up, let's fight! Because these coons up here ain't gonna fight. Tomorrow I got to meet your Niagara Falls Negroes. They might not want to fight. So brothers and sisters, we got us a school, and we got 4 buildings on that school. We have a large school and a small one. So we ain't got one, we got 2.
Beautiful.
They're right across the street from each other. The large building is the Frederick Douglass building. The smaller school is the Marcus Garvey building. The large building has 16 classrooms and a large modern gymnasium. We can put 1,000 people in the gym alone. And then you still got 16 classrooms. And these are modern buildings, not the old ones, but the new buildings. And then in the smaller school, we got 8 classes. And then we got another gym with the small school. And then we got a 4th building. My point is, when it's time to bring people under the same roof so we can organize and have a conversation, we got all the space we need. And we ain't got to worry about nobody putting us out, turning the lights off, charging us too much money, or telling us you can't talk about white folks. Because whenever I go to an NAACP event, the first thing they do is pull me into the room. Dr. Johnson, we have white people out here. I don't give a damn who you got out there. I ain't talking to them, I'm talking to black folks. And that's why I don't like white folks around when I talk to y'all, because white folks, they're privileged. One white person will walk in here, they expect me to change my whole message.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. One white person walk in here, y'all change the way y'all act.
Yep.
You walk different, you smile different.
Mm-hmm.
You talk different. Y'all see them Negroes on TV, they don't sound like that in real life.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes. That's his Caucasian side. So brothers and sisters, how can you be a part of FDMG? Well, first of all, we're looking at opening up the school August of 2020. We can't open it this August because we ain't got enough time. We have to rehab the buildings because even though they're modern and they're beautiful, they've been vandalized because the previous owner didn't have a security system on the building. So Ray and Pookie and them came through the damn roof and ripped pipes out and ripped toilets off the wall, brand new toilets. Brand new, the school was moving ready until Ray and Pookie showed up. They caused tens of thousands of dollars worth of damage for $5 worth of copper. So what we're doing now is we're trying to raise $1 million to fix all 4 buildings. But even if we raise $500,000, we can fix at least 1 or 2 of them. So I need y'all to keep on donating so we can get the job done.
Okay.
And for those of y'all who too lazy to go to the mailbox and mail a check or money order, I got a cash app for that behind the night.
I know, that's right.
Cash.me/$FDMG school. If you're on the Cash App, you want to donate to $FDMG school. That's the Cash App. Or you can mail your check or money order. I'm going to make sure all y'all have my number before we're done tonight. You can text me for the address and mail it straight. We have a new P.O. box in Delaware, but if you still send them to the Philadelphia P.O. box, that's fine too, because we still own that one as well. It is my hope that we rehab at least one of the 2 schools, because on August the 21st of this summer, when we celebrate 400 years of fighting white supremacy in America, I want to have a week-long celebration of our ancestors at the school. I want the whole New York State to come down to Delaware and partake in the workshops, in the seminars, in the music, in the art, in the food, in the organizing. From August the 20th to August the 25th, I want a quadricentennial 400-year celebration of Black resistance. That's what I want to do. Now, somebody asked the question, what if I don't live there? Well, you can still travel there. Just like I drove up here, you can drive down there. Lazy. The Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy will also double as the headquarters for the National Independent Black Parent Association. It will also double as the headquarters for Team Pan-African. It will also double as the headquarters for Ifa Tunde University. It will double as the headquarters for the unapologetically African movement. My point being, whether you have a child or not, you still need to come on down to Delaware, because Delaware is the new Mecca of Black resistance and Black power. It's the new Mecca. FDMG is the Taj Mahal of Black consciousness, the Timbuktu of Black nation building. Everything and anything that we got to do to fix ourselves, we're going to do it in those 4 buildings. So I hope you're ready, because we're about to get popping. And I got some more good news. Just like it took me 4 years to get to school, it took me 4 years to get started on my documentary. Some of y'all know for the past couple years I've been talking about this documentary I want to do, called The Shockumentary, the psychoacademic war against Black boys. Well, guess what? It's official. We're starting to film the documentary next month. We're starting to film the documentary next month. And to that point, if any of you here are artistically inclined, spoken word, song, poetry, or conscious hip-hop, spoken word, song, poetry, or conscious hip-hop, I'm looking for about 12 artists, male and female, who will offer a 2-minute a cappella, no music, no profanity. No music in the background, no profanity. A cappella, pure voice. Poetry, conscious hip-hop, spoken word, or a song related to the psychoacademic Holocaust against Black boys. If you would like to be featured in my documentary, which will be released in the mainstream movie theaters, email me, text me, or WhatsApp me your 2-minute submission. It must be the content that you plan to use in the documentary. Tape yourself doing it. I don't have to see the expression right now. I just need to hear you, your flow, so I can consider if I want to use you or not. I got brothers and sisters all around the country sending me stuff. So if you got it like that, you got some bars, send me your stuff. I don't care if you're a child, an elder, a brother, or a sister, send it to me, and I will contact you and let you know we're using it this time, or we may use it the next time, because with the shockumentary, we're going to move around the country. So the first one, we're going to focus on D.C., Maryland, Delaware, Pennsylvania, New Jersey. The second one will either be Connecticut and New York State. And then the third or second one will either be Illinois, Michigan, Ohio. New York, I gotta basically get y'all on. Because New York City, 5 boroughs by itself. I could do 10 documentaries on the Bronx alone. Okay? So we're gonna save y'all for the second one, but that don't mean you can't put art into this one. You don't have to wait for the second. If you have a piece, send it to me. Do not send it by Facebook. Do not send it by Instagram. Do not send it by Twitter. I rarely check those. Send it to my 2 minutes. You can do it on your phone. I just want to hear your flow and hear your content, and the whole world will see you. Because once the documentary comes out, we're taking it on a world tour. The whole planet will know your name and know your skills. If you know somebody who's not here today, who needs to enter something, have them email it to me, drumarjohnson@yahoo.com. DRUMAR Johnson. My name, no periods, no spaces. drumarjohnson@yahoo.com. If you want to work at the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy, send me your resume. Some of you have already sent them. If you sent them, you good. FDMGresumes@gmail. FDMG resumes with an S at Gmail. We need science teachers, we need math, we need language arts, we need social studies, but we will not be teaching gay and lesbian studies.
Right.
There won't be no queer curriculum in my damn school. You want to twerk, do it outside. But not only that, I need sisters who can do natural hair care, because we will be establishing a school with the girls sooner or later. And because we got 2 school buildings right across the street from each other, facing each other, there's a chance we might start the girls even sooner than we originally thought. So we need sisters who can do natural hair, because every girl at FDMG will be nappy by nature. No perms, no European hair color, no wigs, none of that. Totally natural. And ladies, if you want to work at the school, you got to be natural too. You ain't got to be natural when you send in your resume, because I know you got to wait for the new growth. That scalp look like Iraq right now. Kuwait and Baghdad. So I'm not going to make you reveal all those burn scars right there. But when you show up for work, if you get hired, you got to show up natural. So it's okay to sit there with Dr. Umar, I got what I'm working on. And black man, if your woman got some scar tissue on her scalp, massage her scalp with some hot shea butter. Kiss it. Make the hair grow back like George Washington. And black woman, you gotta stop waiting, because y'all keep trying to play with your hair like, I'ma just cut it a little bit and see if it come back right. It's not coming back right! You got to bald it and start fresh. It's called growing pains. I'm telling you, I'm a barber, I cut hair, cut my own hair. I know how it goes. You got to start fresh and give the scalp a whole new growth. Y'all want to keep playing with it and bald this side to keep this side looking like Kojak. Cut it off. Brothers, when your woman sleep, get some clippers and just bald her in her sleep. So she got to start fresh. Okay? She can get a nice afro wig, one of them nice Steve Harvey afro wigs. Okay? And start fresh. But brothers and sisters, I'm happy about the school. I've been down there every single day. The Negroes won't leave me alone, though. They still saying I don't own it. Somebody told me I broke into the school with a suit on. He did a 30-minute video and broke out before the cops got. You know what? They make 3 videos about me a day. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
When I get home tonight and I click YouTube, there's going to be 3 new videos about 3 dusty hotels trying to discredit my works. But I don't worry about that because they are in the minority. The problem is black people love negativity so much, all we do is put out negativity. So people don't even know there's a whole positive world. 99% of black folks love Dr. Umar, but you wouldn't know on YouTube. You wouldn't know on YouTube. See, if y'all didn't love me, I wouldn't have no school right now. If y'all didn't love me, I wouldn't travel the world the way that I do. So it's crystal clear that there must be love for this man to have done what he's done the way that he's done it in an unprecedented fashion.
Absolutely.
No black psychologist ever taught you the way that I taught you. Not one.
Not one.
Nobody ever broke down special ed for you the way I did. Not one. Nobody ever gave you ADHD the way I gave it to you. Ain't no daddy at home disorder, ADHD. Ain't no daddy at home. That's all it is. When did we get ADD? 1980. That's when the American Psychiatric Association came out with ADD. Don't believe me? Do your research. 1980. That's the same year the CIA dropped off the crack, man. Same year they gave us crack is the same year they gave us Ritalin. Do your research if you don't believe me. They started doping up the parents and doping up the kids the same year. But then 7 years later, can't nobody make you pay attention, not even a drug. So 7 years later, they changed ADD to ADHD, hyper. They added the word hyper. Once you add the word hyper, you can now justify medication for everybody. Do y'all understand? That's why there's no more ADD. There's only ADHD. So they can justify medicine, Adderall, Concerta, Cycler, Metadate, and Ritalin, the #1 selling stimulant for ADHD in the world. And it's so dangerous that most European countries don't even allow you to give out Ritalin in their country. But you can give it out in America, though. Because black mothers and fathers do whatever the white teachers tell them to do in Buffalo schools. How you gonna let a teacher tell you your son needs medication to get an education? Does she need medication to get her job? Why your son need medication to get an education? You don't need medication to get no education. Remember Nancy Reagan used to say, this is your brain on drugs? Leave drugs alone. Drugs are bad. Even though her husband, Ronald Senile Reagan, because he never knew what the hell he was talking. He was one of the biggest drug dealing presidents in American history. Ronald Reagan, let the dope in. Iran-Contra, Ronald Reagan. The crack came through Ronald Reagan. While his wife was talking about, this is your brain on drugs. Well, here's my question. If you sending black men in Buffalo to jail, mandatory minimum 5 years for selling crack. All of us know people in jail for selling dope. 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years for an ounce of crack. If it's that bad, then I gotta go to jail for 10 years just for having it. How is it so good for my son? Ritalin is synthesized cocaine. Metadate is synthesized cocaine. Concerta is synthesized cocaine. Cycler is synthesized cocaine. You're turning your sons into the next generation of drug addicts and you don't even know it. All because some nasty white woman from the suburbs who can care less about you or your son simply wants a more calmer child. Well, guess what? Boys are not calm.
Right. That is.
Girls are calm.
Yes.
Oh, he can't sit still. I don't know what to do. You can't sit still for 8 hours either, Becky. Who do you know can sit still for 8 hours? Y'all Negroes will give Dr. Umar 2 hours. If I'm not done in 2 hours, you out of here. But your son's supposed to sit still for a white woman for 7 a day. 7 a day. No air condition. 7 a day. Lunch look like dog food. 7 a day. No gym class. 7 a day. No class trips. 7 a day. No recess. See, I'm so tired of y'all doing with the white folks. Do you know what I tell your kids? The next time your mom let the white man tell her to give you some drugs, tell your mom to take them first. See, since y'all scared of white folks, I gotta tell the kids what to do. Because y'all strung out on white supremacy. So I got to tell the kids what to do, especially the 14-year-olds. I say, listen, you 14. You go to your own IEP. So the next time your mommy and daddy acting like you too slow and you need special ed, you just start a Nat Turner revolution in the meeting. They say, Mommy and Daddy, y'all shut up. I got it. I'm going back in a regular class. I don't need nobody special ed. I think this school's special enough as it is. And that's what I don't understand about black parents. Why y'all keep putting your kids in special ed? I'm a school psychologist. I put the kids in. But I'm still trying to find out what is so special about special ed. Can somebody help me out? I've been doing it for 20 years. What is so special about the learning support class? What is so special about the emotional support class? What is so special about the life skills support class? What is so special about the autistic support class? Maybe you know something I don't know. You sign a paper and let the white folks test the child. They put them in a special class, and you think because they're slowing them down, they're going to catch up. If special ed slows down the curriculum, how are your children ever going to catch up? All special ed is a slowing down of the curriculum. That's it. Nothing special. If y'all knew what I knew, instead of putting them in special ed, I would get them a tutor. Summertime coming up, right? Some of y'all will get phone calls from the school asking, can they test your child real fast before the school year go out so they can put them in special ed? And your answer better be no. And let me tell you why your answer should be no. 3 reasons why you don't let nobody evaluate for special ed after April. Because school gets out of Buffalo. What's the last day of school in Buffalo? June what? June 26th? So you got the whole April, the whole May. June don't even count, because that's a circus. Okay? Your child got 12 weeks of school. They're in the last quarter of school. Why would you let them get tested for special ed at the last quarter of this grade when next year it's a new grade, a new teacher, a new year, a new class? Why would you put them in special ed next year? Because this year's teacher can't teach. Do y'all understand me? You follow me, Rev? If they in 3rd grade and the teacher want them tested, they made it to the end of the year. Why would you put them in next year for this year's teacher? Let the next year teacher see if she got the same problems. And guess what? 9 times out of 10, she won't have the same problems, because a different teacher can often mean a different child. The teachers have more control than you think. If it was up to me, white teachers couldn't teach black kids. If it was up to me, white people could not teach our children. And some of you say, why not? I know some good white teachers. Well, guess what? I know a couple good white teachers. I know some good white teachers, good math, good science, good reading, good language. Yes, I do. Oh, yes, I do. And I'm not ashamed to say it. But my definition of education isn't just math, science, social studies, and language. My definition of education for black children is teaching them how to understand, outthink, and survive racism. Betsy can't teach that. Marianne can't teach that. Peter and Sammy cannot teach that. See, public schools are designed to condition the black child to accept white domination. And to make sure they break the spirit of the black boy, they put white women in charge. They don't use white men to break the boy, they use the white woman. Because if a woman breaks a man, he broke. That's public school's job, to make the black boy know that white people are in charge. There's nothing you, your mother, or your father can do about it. What is the number one predictor of academic success in the classroom? The number one predictor of academic success in the classroom is teacher expectation. Did y'all hear what I said? It's not how much money they get paid. It's not how many kids in the class. It's not how much money is in the school district's budget. It's not how old are the school buildings. The number one predictor of success is, does that teacher believe in your child? But the Buffalo Teachers Union got you and your child outside at the school board picketing for them to get more money in their checks. That is an embarrassment. When you turn on the TV and see black kids who don't know no better, who got silly black parents, letting them fight for white teachers who ain't never fought for you. Don't you know the white teachers that teach our kids are the children of the parents who resisted school desegregation? Did y'all see what happened in Connecticut last month? A white Connecticut school teacher was in the supermarket and she cursed this black man out, called him every N-word in the book, and then she started spitting on him. And it was revealed that she was a school teacher, and everybody's shocked. I'm not shocked. Teachers are some of the most racist people in the world.
They are.
And you know what else is interesting? So many teachers are married to white racist police.
Yeah.
Ain't that interesting? We're going to use the white woman to miseducate your son, and then we're going to use her husband to lock him up when she's done.
Yeah.
Nothing is wrong with the black boy. The black boy needs a black male. That's it. The solution is a male teacher. But you can't say that in Buffalo schools, because your school district is predominantly white female teachers. So if y'all start saying we need black men in the schools, the white women are going to be concerned, because that's their job you're talking about. So they have to act like race don't matter. It's not about the color. And then you got coons in political office in Buffalo who will say whatever the white team know, yeah, race don't matter. Race always matters.
It will always matter.
If race don't matter, why do white teachers ain't got black people teaching their kids?
Exactly.
Most white kids are taught by white people, and most black kids are taught by white people. The black boy can learn as well as any other child if you just give him a chance. And then you got all these Negroes trying to hustle black boys. They be saying stuff like the black boy need his own curriculum. Black boy need his own school. Black boy need his own program. Black boy need his own, The reason you have to give him a different program, a different school, a different curriculum is because white people don't know how to treat him equally. The black boy can do just as well as the white boy under the same condition. The difference is the racism. But what they do is they look at the black boy like he's the problem. The boy ain't the problem. The system is the problem. See how they change your thinking? They need something different. They need something special. Something special is being done to them. I got a couple of questions I want to read that I want to answer. Question number one. Why do you feel white teachers shouldn't teach black children? I've already talked about it. A white oppressor cannot bring about black liberation. A white racist cannot teach a black child self-love.
No.
See, we got to broaden our definition of education. It ain't just learning how to read, write, and count. Because when you limit education to read, write, count, speak, you get a Barack Obama. You get a Condoleezza Rice. You get a Clarence Thomas. You get an Oprah Winfrey. Okay? Education is bigger than that. Education for black children must teach them loyalty to self. If your child graduates from Buffalo with a diploma and they're not loyal to self, they've been miseducated. The first law of nature is self-preservation. But the first law of nature for Negroes is self-extermination. Look how they re-engineered you. Instead of self-preservation, Chinese, Arab, East Indian, Mexican, Latino, Anglo-Saxon, European Jew, they're programmed for self-preservation. And then on our side, we got Nipsey Hussle. Programmed for self-extermination. And if you want to change that, you got to build your own schools. Because white folks will never stop black people from killing each other, because it is the white engineering that got you killing each other in the first place.
Yeah.
I had a Negro tell me the other day, black people are their own worst enemies. Nothing could be further from the truth.
It is.
You're not your own worst enemy.
No,
Yes, we is, Doc. No, you're not. Do you control the school system that miseducates your kids?
No.
Do you control the mass incarceration system that locks up your men?
No.
Do you control the economic system that keeps us unemployed?
No.
Do you control the medical system that keeps us sick with cancer, diabetes, and kidney diseases?
No.
Do you control any of the systems that are responsible for your destruction? Did you invent AIDS?
No.
Ebola? Autism? West Nile? Do you manufacture guns? Do you manufacture drugs? So how can you be your own worst enemy? The white man is your worst enemy, but you are the #1 accomplice to the enemy. You are the white man's sidekick that helps him get it done. You are the coon that gives the cracker the keys to the Negro kingdom. Next question. My child is in a full-time emotional support classroom. Should I be concerned? Oh, yes, you should. Your child is in a special ed class all day, all day, all day. Federal law says that a child should only be in special ed to the extent necessary in order to learn. It's known as LRE, least restrictive environment. LRE, least restrictive environment. So for example, if your son has an emotional disturbance, I ask you, how much time do you feel your son needs to be with the special ed teacher away from the regular class in order to function appropriately? You might say, well, my son might need a period or two just to cool off. After that, he's all right. My son is actually very intelligent. He just don't know how to control his emotions. Well, if your son only needs 2 periods a day, why is he in special ed 9 periods a day? If your son has a math disability, he should only be in special ed for what class? And if your daughter has a reading disability, she should only be in special ed for what class? So why is she in special ed for reading, science, language, art, recess, gym, lunch, bathroom, classroom, dismissal? Your child goes to a special ed class 8 o'clock in the morning, and they leave 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That's against the law. That is against the law. You have a lawsuit. Oh, yes, you do. And guess what? If you can prove that your son or daughter didn't need to be in special ed all that time, Buffalo City Schools now owes you what we call compensatory education. What is compensatory education? It's reparations for miseducation. Compensatory education means, how many days was your child in special ed all day when they should have only been there 1 hour a day? Well, that was every day. How many days in a school year? 180. How many days did they do this to your son? For 2 years. So that's 180 times 2. 360 days they owe your child financial damages for that time that they were subjected to special ed unnecessarily. You don't get the money. And some of your eyes went wide. I got 5 kids. I got 5. That's 360 times 5. Guess what? You don't get the money. Let me tell y'all what happened. 10 years ago, they used to give y'all the money. They would give you a big check, $20,000, compensatory ed, because we had your child in special ed too much. And guess what y'all would do with the money? You go get you a hoopty with rims. $5,000 car, $15,000 wheels. You go get your nails done, your hair done, big screen TV, air conditioner, Louis bag, Air Jordans for all your sons. And the white man said, we can't get them no money. So now they put it in a trust fund and you build the school district. So let's say they owe your child $10,000 in account ed. You fund after school programs, tutoring programs, summer camp, and you build the school district until the money runs out. You don't touch the money, you simply invoice the school and they will pay the vendor that you found. A lot of you are being robbed of compensatory ed money every day. It's not enough to just make them take your child out of special ed. That's only half. They now have to fix what special ed created. Are y'all following me? Yeah. It's just like slavery. White man took you out of slavery. You think it's over? Oh, hell no. You got to pay for the labor that we was never compensated. And stop letting white folks tell you if you don't like America, go to Africa. Next time a Neanderthal sliverback tell you that, I want you to ask him, if I sent you home, where would you go?
In them caves.
Because you're not a native to a single country on this earth. You are not native to Europe. The Africans had Europe first. We don't know where the hell you came from. You're not native to North America, South America. You're not native to Australia. You know you're not native to Africa. That's giving a birching out of your spine, you pale demon. You're not native to Asia. White man ain't native nowhere and got a nerve to tell you to go home. You know why he ain't got no home on earth? Because his home is in hell.
Say it. Say it.
We tired of black people talking about slavery. Slavery over. Really? Well, then why you let the European Jews come out with 5 Holocaust movies a year? Right. Every year, 5 Holocaust movies. Am I wrong?
No.
Ain't nobody telling them to stop thinking about their Holocaust. But we got to stop talking about ours. I'm not going to stop talking about nothing. Then the reason white folks want you to stop talking about slavery, because slavery is an indefensible sin that reveals the hypocrisy of America. There's no way you can explain it. Land of the free and home of the brave. Do you know that when Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration and he said all men are created equal, his original language was not created? The original language of the Declaration of Independence said all men are born equal. And then George Washington and Alexander Hamilton and Ben Franklin said you can't say born, because if you say born, then that means black folks are free too. So you got to say created. Created by who? The government. Does anybody know why America broke away from Britain in the first place? Why did they declare independence on July 4th, 1776? Because they was being oppressed? Hell no! Wasn't about no Boston Tea Party. That ain't had nothing to do with it. You know why? Because the British had already started working on eliminating slavery in their Caribbean colonies. So the white man in America said, whoa, we just getting started. If they outlaw slavery, how the hell are we going to build up our country? So the reason why they cut from Britain is to keep you in slavery. If I'm wrong, prove it. These are the facts and they are indisputable. Make sure you get your compensatory ed. Don't just take them out of special ed. They owe you. Your child was in special ed in the 2nd grade, which you deserve a behind whipping for, because you had no business letting a 7-year-old get tested for special ed. Did y'all hear me? Why would you let a 6-year-old get tested for special ed? Some of y'all out out your mind. I was on the phone with a mother the other day. Kid been in special ed with a learning disability since kindergarten. Where's your common sense, black mother? Where's your common sense, black father? Do y'all not understand that the labels we give your children cannot even be proven to exist? Rev, you can't prove a learning disability, Reverend. You can't prove it. I need y'all to hear me. When I evaluate your child, I'm a certified school psych. I bring the child into the office. We give them an IQ test, achievement test, visual test, behavior assessment, adaptive behavior measure, a visual motor test, and all the tests give me are numbers. The test gives me a number. The test gives me a number. So can I ask you a question? If the test gives me numbers, how did letters end up on the report? Where did the reading disability come from? The tests don't diagnose. Where did the math disability come from? The tests don't diagnose. Where did the autism come from? The tests don't. Where did retardation, emotional disability, the tests don't diagnose. We diagnose. When somebody from Buffalo School tells you your daughter got a reading disability, that's not a fact. That's a white racist opinion about your child. That's why I'm working on a documentary. Because I've seen all these documentaries about school and ain't nobody telling the truth. Ain't nobody talking about the white teachers. Ain't nobody talking about the trifling black principals. Don't get me wrong, we got some trifling black principals out there. I know some trifling black principals. I know some good ones too. But just because they black don't mean you can trust them. Amen. Just because they black, take it from me. This is how they get y'all. Y'all come to the school. I'm here to see the principal. Okay. King Tut is in his office. If you go in there, rap, you got a fish tank, Shaka Zulu music, 2 spears, a drum, shea butter, frankincense, a green smoothie, a veggie wrap, some new tickets to Egypt for the summer. And I saw this brother conscious. He come out dressed like, oh, man, he conscious. Principal King Tut. You don't know that's a Halloween costume. The minute you leave, he bowing down to the white teachers like they own. Yep. Oh, yeah. Yep. Let me tell you a little secret. Black principals ain't really allowed to be principals. You're talking to a former one. We're not allowed to be principals. You know why? Because all the teachers are white. And I'm the young black principal trying to make white teachers do what they don't want to do. Guess what the white teachers will get done to me? They'll get me fired. You know how many black principals have been fired because the white teachers got upset that they tried to make them do their job? And this is why I don't want you to have no sympathy for those school teachers. I'm going to tell you why. Because school teachers are the only professionals in the United States of America. They are the only professionals in the United States of America who cannot be fired for not being able to do their job. Can somebody name me another professional in this country who cannot be fired for not being able to do their job? If a doctor don't know how to do his job well, somebody gets sick on his watch, he loses his job. Engineer don't know how to do the job right, building fall down, he loses his job. Architect don't know how to do the job right, they didn't put things in the right place, they lose their job. Teacher don't know how to teach, kids ain't learning, they keep their job. You cannot fire a teacher in America for not being able to teach. Once they join the teachers union in Buffalo, they will have their job until the day they die. And they got the summers off and every holiday. They got more vacation days than any other professional in America, and they got you feeling sorry for them. Now, you don't like your job, boo-boo? I know somebody who would gladly take $50,000 a year with July and August off, plus every Jewish holiday on the calendar. Y'all notice how our kids is always off on the Jewish holiday? We ain't no European Jews. We off for Rosh Hashanah. Because the Jewish teachers clique controls the calendar. And I'm telling y'all what it is. Can I ask y'all a question? Why are you not off for Kwanzaa if you can be off for Jewish holidays? Why are we not off for Malcolm X Day if we can be off for Jewish holidays? We need to organize and go into Buffalo schools and say, these 10 days are now holidays. And they gonna say, what day is this? You're gonna say, Nat Turner Day. Bismarck Vesey. Gabriel Prosser. And what they do? Kill Christ. Next question. I don't want to immunize my child. What can I do? Listen, I'm going to read to you the states that you must live in. If you live in these states, you're lucky. New York is not one of them. I'm going to get to, okay. I'm about to read to you the states of America. If you live in one of these states, you do not need a medical exemption. You do not need a religious exemption. In these states, all you have to do is write a letter and get it notarized, stating that I do not believe in immunizations. I do not want my child immunized, and I accept full responsibility for this decision. It is my right under state law. You go to a notary, you give it to the school secretary, life goes on. Those states are Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Utah. I know some of y'all like, that sounds like crash.
That's who it is.
It really does.
Arizona, North Dakota.
What?
None but white people.
Colorado, Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Minnesota, Louisiana, Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Maine. If you live in one of those states, you don't need no doctor's note and you don't need no church letter. All you have to do is say, I really don't trust white folks or anything they do. Get it notarized and give it to the secretary. Now, you live in New York. New York, y'all have two exemptions, medical and religious. So you need to find a doctor, and they're out here. You just got to do, there's doctors who don't believe in immunizations. Find you a doctor, have them write you a letter exempting your child, give that to the school, life goes on. Your only other option is a religious exemption. Maybe we could talk to Rev. I don't know if AMEZ don't believe in the shots. Maybe Rev can give y'all a letter. He write them all the time. That means you got to show up to church. Or charge him $1,000 a letter, Rev! Look at y'all ready to hustle the rent. But in New York, you got to have one or the other, religious or medical. I live in Pennsylvania, we got it easy. Now, my school is in Delaware, right? Delaware don't have personal philosophy exemption, but I have a private school. So at my private school, I decide whether or not the children will have to be immunized, and they won't.
All right.
Now, along with the immunizations are autism. Autism, and we even know what's causing the autism. It is the MMR shot. MMR, measles, mumps, and rubella. If you know like I know, I will not be giving my son measles, mumps, or rubella. The MMR shot has been isolated as the autism trigger.
Damn.
It's over. We know now. It's no more discussion. So you better find a way to get away from that one. Okay? What a lot of parents is doing, they just homeschooling their kids. They're like, listen, I'm just going to homeschool. That way they ain't got to get nobody shot. Okay? Or go get Tay and Mike, and they just go online and doctor up the whole shot paper for $40. Okay? I'm going to come to you. You have been accused of not wanting to work with other leaders. Is this true? I'll work with anybody. But I'm not working with no hustlers and no con artists. See, the problem in the conscious community is you got so many brothers and sisters who want to use other brothers and sisters' talents for financial gain. I'm not in this for money. I'm in this for liberation. So if you're not trying to help the people, I can't help you. I work with anybody, and I work with a lot of people all the time. The problem is they're not on YouTube. And because all y'all addicted to YouTube, if you're not working with the YouTube con artists, you don't like working with nobody. Name somebody on YouTube who's trying to build an institution. I'll work with them. I'm listening. Oh, they're too busy making videos. Well, Dr. Claude Anderson ain't a YouTube addict. He got videos, but he's not a YouTube junkie. And he and I have worked together. And I consider Claude Anderson to be the most relevant scholar alive today. And I'm the second most. Good brother. Number 3, my 3-year-old child still isn't talking. What should I do? My 3-year-old child still isn't talking. What should I do? I'm going to keep y'all for 30 more minutes. Is that all right?
Right.
All right. I promise I'll end at 30 minutes. If your child ain't talking at 3, we got to go through a process of elimination. Number 1, did you get ear tubes put in the ears that did not fall out? Sometimes we get the ear tubes put in and we never make sure they fall out. The ear tube gets caught in the ear canal, and then all that fluid gets built up and it causes hearing loss. Maybe it's the ear tubes. I once had a boy in North Philly. Mom thought he was slow. Principal thought he was slow. Special ed teacher thought he was slow. He came to my office. I'm asking him questions. IQ test. I'm looking right in his face. He's 2 feet away. I said, wait a minute. This boy can't even understand what I'm saying. He's not an English language learner. He's not Spanish origin. He's an African-American kid. And I'm sitting right in front of him. He can't hear me. I went down to the principal. I said, I think this kid got hearing loss. He ain't got no learning disability. He can't hear. The mother called me up and cursed me out. You just want to do your job. My son needs special ed. She wanted a check. I don't do special ed for checks, okay? So I told the principal I can't test him until he gets the audiological assessment. Audio, not the nursing test. See, some of y'all will let the nurse test the kid. That's not good enough. You need an audiological evaluation. Audiologist from the hospital. The pediatrician can recommend an audiologist. And so the kid went to the audiologist, came back from the summer. Big letter, this child had ear tubes stuck. They had to do surgery. They had to cut back here, pull the ear tubes out from the back, drain out all that nasty liquid. He came back to school, he could hear fine, no learning disability. Wow. It took me to say, not even his own mother cared enough. I had to force it. So number 1, make sure there's no ear tubes. Now, if ear tubes are not the issue, make sure there's no hearing loss. Sometimes our children have hearing loss, and it's not always a birth defect. What's the biggest reason black kids got hearing loss at 3 years old? Because their father got that hoopy, you know, the $5,000 one with the $20,000 wheels, and a $100,000 system, and the kids is in the back seat, and he blasting the music. You're going to get that baby hearing loss. So a lot of the babies got hearing loss because the father's music. Turn it down. Or get some earphones. So make sure they can hear. That's the second thing. What else? Trauma. Trauma. A child who has been sexually abused, physically abused, verbally abused, locked in the trunk, locked in a house overnight, beat up, bullying, trauma can present like hearing loss. They hear you, but they're traumatized. Make sure it's not an emotional issue, right? And then the next thing, okay, after you've ruled out hearing, you've ruled out trauma, you have to rule out language. So for my Afro-Puerto Rican brothers and sisters and Afro-Cuban brothers and sisters, if that child came from Puerto Rico speaking Spanish, it may not be a hearing issue, it may be a cultural issue. They don't understand English. And if they don't understand English, what is Buffalo City School supposed to do? If the child is from Africa, if the child is from the Caribbean, if the child is from anywhere, and they don't speak English, what is Buffalo Public School supposed to do? They're supposed to order an ESOL evaluation, ESOL. That stands for English as a Second Language. English as a second language. There is an evaluator. They evaluate the child for ESOL and they teach them the English language. It's called ESOL class. But guess what they do in Buffalo and in New York City? Little boys show up from Liberia, little boys show up from Nigeria, little boys show up from Rwanda, refugee. Those African parents don't know nothing about no special ed law. Guess where they put them at? Special education. Because whenever you put a child in special ed, they get what? Money. Special ed is money. So when I put your child name in the computer, it goes to Albany State Department of Education. By the end of the month, there's an electronic transfer of funds to the public school. Special ed is a hustle. Special ed is a racket. Special ed is a business of making money off black kids who you know you never taught in the first place. And that's why you don't let the child get evaluated at the end of the year. You tell the school he's not getting evaluated. I'm going to get my son a tutor over the summer, my daughter a tutor over the summer. He'll come back in September with a new teacher, new class, new skill, new year, and you're going to see a new child. Resist. Resist. Something else y'all need to know. Before the school considers special ed, they're supposed to attempt academic and behavioral interventions in the regular class. Your son got reading problems? What reading program did they give him? Your daughter got math problems? What math programs did they give him? Special education is supposed to be the last resort, not the first one. Did y'all hear what I just said? Special education is the last strategy to be considered, not the first. In black schools, it's always the first because they don't care about our babies. When will you start reviewing resumes for the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy? Once we finish renovating the building. That's why we need y'all to keep on donating. Once we finish renovating the building, that's when I'm going to start looking at the resumes. I'm hoping by January of 2020, the buildings have been renovated. I want it done by August so we can have our quadricentennial celebration. But if not, I want it done by January of 2020. So I got 8 months from January to August to hire my teachers, do my in-service, choose my boys, and on August the 21st, 2020, we will create heaven on earth. Some of y'all might move to Delaware. Cost of living is a lot cheaper than New York. Oh, yes, it is. Because I'm going to make Delaware the new Black Wall Street. So you better get it when you finish. It's already started. Brothers and sisters have already started moving to Delaware already. White folks are like, where are these Negroes coming from? They coming from Umar today. How can folk who don't live in Delaware get involved in the movement? I want to invite every last one of you to come to Wilmington, June 8th and 9th. Get in the car and take the 5-hour drive. Because on June 8th and 9th, around the corner from my school, I will be hosting the next training for the National Independent Black Parent Association. If you want to become an expert in how to advocate for your child, Friday and Saturday, June 8th and June 9th, Wilmington, Delaware. 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., lunch will be provided. I'm going to train you. You're going to learn every diagnosis. You're going to know how to review an evaluation. You're going to learn how to put together an IEP. You're going to know the 20 most important rights for parents. You're going to know how to conduct yourself in a meeting. You're going to know how to file for due process. You're going to know how to request an approved private school placement. You're going to know how to request an independent educational evaluation. Give me 2 days, June 8th and 9th. You will know everything that I know. So if any of you are interested, you can register on my website now, drumarjohnson.com. And as a special treat, everybody who comes to the conference June 8th and 9th, you're going to get the first look inside the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey campus. I'm taking you into schools, and you will tour the schools for the first time. June 8th and 9th, I hope New York is in the building. The school is trying to force me to put my child in special ed, or they're going to leave him back. The school is trying to force me to put my child in special ed, or they're going to leave him back. First of all, school can't force you to do nothing. Did everybody hear me? The school cannot make you put your child in special ed. So don't tell me they forced me. In order for me to evaluate, you got to sign your name. In order for me to put him in special ed, you got to sign your name. There is no evaluation, there is no special education without your name. All you have to do is write a letter. I've received your request to have my child evaluated. I hereby refuse your request. And I'd appreciate it if you white folks don't bring this up anymore. Sign it, date it. No, seriously, if you tell them to stop on paper, they cannot harass you. Let me tell you where y'all mess up. Y'all let the white folks in New York State cause doubt in your mind. They start making you think he might be learning disabled. They start making you think he might be retarded. They start making you think she might have autism. And now that they've created that doubt, you got a little bit of doubt. What Jesus said, "O ye of little faith, why do you doubt?" And then you sign the paper, giving them permission to label your baby. And once your child gets put in special ed, what's the chances that they ever going to get out? School to prison pipeline is special ed. The school to prison pipeline is special education. Okay? Now, if the school said they're going to leave your child back, what's the first thing you're supposed to do? Some of y'all getting letters right now, right? Your son didn't score high enough on the state test. We're going to leave him back. First thing you should do is get a copy of the school district code. What does the school district say about leaving children back? You have to know the policy. You have to make sure that the reason they're giving you for leaving your child back is approved by the school board. Let me give you an example. I got parents calling me up where they're telling the parent we're going to leave him back because he ain't mature enough. How many of y'all heard of that? Your son's not mature enough. We're going to keep him back in grade so you white folks are going to mature my boy. You damn pedophile. But listen, listen. You go to the school district code and you lift up the code and you say, I don't see anything in this code that says you can hold my child back for maturity. See, whatever they tell you, give it back to them. I'm going to hold your child back because he don't know how to behave. Can you show me where a child can be held back for behavior? Your child didn't score high enough on the test. Now that might be true. Some school districts will allow you to retain the child if they didn't score high enough on the spring state assessment. Speaking of the state assessment, I got something to say about that.
Okay.
I'm going to blame y'all.
Oh, shoot.
I love it why they call me Big Pop. But the show stopped. Listen. State test. When your child has to take a test, you need to prepare him for the test.
Okay.
Let your children know this is do or die. The night before you sit down and you look them in the face, you tell them, if you don't score high, you will fail. Y'all have to make sure y'all prepare y'all kids for test day. Make them go to sleep a little earlier. Make them wake up a little sooner. Talk to them. Okay? Because there's a whole art to taking the test.
Yeah.
Okay? Too often our kids go into the test and they're not taking that test seriously, and that test will get them a retention. That's on y'all to do. When the test is coming up, you prepare them for the test. But let me also say this. A lot of schools want to hold your child back because they failed the practice test. Practice tests don't count. Did y'all hear me? Practice test. You cannot retain no child off no practice test, but they do it in Buffalo because they know y'all not going to say nothing about it. Half the stuff they do to y'all is illegal, but they know you're not going to say nothing about it. Black mothers, stop going to the school meetings by yourself. No more school meetings alone, mothers. I know you're a strong black woman, but you don't go around white folks without a witness to the crime. Same thing for black fathers. Don't go by yourself. You're talking to a principal. Go with one or two people. And guess what? have 10 more people on standby. Why did I say that? Because if you walk into a meeting and there's 25 white folks in the meeting, guess what I want you to do? I want you to call 45 blacks. Tay, they got 35. You bring 50. And then the next thing you know, 50 Negroes with tattoos from their neck to their toes, where wife beaters are standing around the meet like the Black Panthers. I bet you won't be no special ed that day, I promise you. Won't be no retentions, no medicine, no ADHD, no nothing. Go with a team! There's no limit to how many people you bring to a meeting. Why do you go by yourself? There's no limit to how many people you bring to a meeting. Why do you go by yourself? You never go by yourself. I got 2 daughters and I'm not going by myself. The white folks love to get a restraining order on me. Take grandma, take the godmother, take the priestess, take the pastor, come get read. But you take somebody with you, don't go by yourself. Don't sign no paperwork unless you're ready and understood it. Don't sign no paperwork unless you're ready and understood it. Y'all love signing papers, y'all don't understand. And y'all always got me, so y'all ain't got no excuse, right? You have your own school psychologist that you can talk to before you go in there. And do me another favor, black mothers, never again, for the rest of your life, until the day you die, don't you ever drop your kids off in the morning with your pajamas on. I am so tired of you damn ghetto rich women. You don't go to no public school with no pajamas on. SpongeBob and Minnie Mouse and what's the new cartoon? X-Men. And y'all swear y'all be cute too. Showing up there with pajamas on. Do you know what you're telling white folks when you show up to a school in Buffalo in your pajamas at 8 o'clock? You're telling them, I don't have a job. I have nothing to do. I lay in bed all day. And guess what? Now that you told them, your son will be sent home every day. And he's going to be suspended every other day. Because you just made it known you have no life. That's disgusting. I wish any parent show up to my school with pajamas on, I'm going to whip them. I'm going to whip them right back to the car. Get away from here, you slave! This is why I had to open the school in the first place. And why you only got one eyebrow arch? I'm going to whip you. Your eyelash is falling. I can't wait to FDMG. I'm going to bring all the boys whose parents think they slow. We're going to have a big assembly for the slow kids. ADHD, conduct disorder, math disability, reading, emotionally disturbed, mild mental retardation. And I'm going to say, y'all parents think y'all slow. So since you need extra help, I'm going to give you all the extra help you need. Y'all come to school on Saturday and Sunday also. 9 to 5 until you be slow.
I hear you.
How many y'all would have bet in 2 weeks? Won't be no more disabilities at FDMG. Boy couldn't write, he could write in a week. Couldn't read the paper all day. Couldn't sit still, he come to class meditating. A few more, y'all. My child is 7 with autism. The school wants me to get him evaluated. My child is 7. He has autism. The school wants me to get him evaluated. Listen to me real carefully. In order to qualify for special education, you must answer yes to 2 questions. This is federal law. 2 questions. Question number 1, does the child have a disability? Yes, he's autistic. Question number 2, does his autism affect his ability to learn in the regular class? I hope you heard what I just said. You do not go to special ed just because you have a disability. Let me say it again. You do not go to special ed just because you have a disability. Let me say it one more time. You do not go to special ed just because you have a disability. You must have a disability and That disability must affect your ability to learn in the class. So if your autistic child is high functioning, because autism is a spectrum. You got low functioning autistic, you got mentally gifted autistic, you got average autistic, and you got some crazy autistic kids who never blink their eyes. If your child, as autistic as they are, can learn in the regular class, do they go to special ed? No. So what should you tell the school? Yes, my son is autistic, but they do not need special education. No, thank you. Did y'all follow me? Your son got ADHD, he got straight A's and B's. What is he in special ed for? Your son got emotional disturbance, A's and B's. What is he in special ed for? Special ed is disability plus need. Disability plus need. My child has a speech and language impairment. What should I do? Write a letter to the principal and request a speech and language evaluation. Your child is stuttering. Your child don't understand language. Your child has trouble formulating their ideas. Speech and language evaluation. They will be classified with the speech and language impairment. It is special ed, but they do not go to a class. Speech and language kids are the only kids in special ed who do not go to a class. They get speech and language therapy. Does everybody understand me? And if you got a 3-year-old who ain't talking, guess where you should be? Downtown at the school district, early intervention office. Special ed begins at 3 and ends at 21. Special ed begins at 3 and ends at 21. Special ed begins at 3 and ends at 21. So at 3 years old, you're at the school board. My 3-year-old not talking, they need an early intervention evaluation. Does Dr. Umar have a problem with a 3-year-old being classified with a speech and language impairment? No. Why? If they get the help they need now. If your 3-year-old gets speech and language now from 3 to 5, when they start kindergarten at 6, they might not need it no more. Just because you get early intervention special ed does not mean you automatically get regular ed special ed. Are y'all following me? Your son is at a preschool. He gets early intervention. He goes to kindergarten next year. He does not automatically go to special ed. You have to request it. So he can start kindergarten with no special ed whatsoever. Everybody got me? If your child gets evaluated and you don't agree with the evaluation, you read it and they said your son retarded, my son ain't retarded. Your daughter got a reading disability, my daughter don't have a reading disability. My grandson is autistic, my grandson is not autistic. My granddaughter is emotional.